Hey there, so today we have another review, and this is a beer from Sand City, brewed in collaboration with Evil Twin at Sand City. This is Even More Hygge, a 14.5% Imperial Stout brewed with lactose and some trace amount of nuts that we don't know about, what kind of nuts they are. But this is, I assume, some take on Even More Jesus. The word Hygge, which you want to say as Hygge, is actually a Danish word, which directly translates as close as possible to English as cozy. So from what I understand, a similar analogy would be the feeling of drinking hot cocoa or Thanksgiving or some nice warm feeling that you have enjoying Hygge. So post in the comments below if you know more about Hygge. But this beer is pitch black. This has got to be one of the darkest stouts I've ever seen, but not only pouring out of the can super dark, that looks like motor oil, but it is so dense and rich and dark that the head is one of the darkest heads I've ever seen, which really shows this might be one of the darkest beers I've ever seen in my life. It looks like you just melted chocolate and created a frothy beverage. The head on this is so densely dark. Let's get it on this one. It smells sweet. Obviously you can't smell sweet, but it smells caramelly. A little bit of meatiness. Some of that familiar umami character getting in Even More Jesus. A little bit of, it's just really sweet brown sugar, muscovado sugar, melted caramel. A little bit of chocolates, but really not that intensity of roast. Yeah, cheers. Cool. This is a big beer. First impressions is that this beer is very sweet. Wow. This is diabetes. It tastes like you had a big Imperial Stout, so think of something like Even More Jesus, Founder's Imperial Stout, Oscar Blues 1050, and then just poured a lot of sugar water into it. No, not in sugar water. Just doused it with confectioner sugar or table sugar. It's very sweet. I actually have some tolerance for sweeter beers, despite the fact that I'm not a big dessert eater. But in general, flavor profile, again, bursts of sweetness, and it lingers on the tongue, and that's all you sort of is the baseline flavor note. But there is that Imperial Stout dancing around. There is that rich, meaty roast quality that you get from something like Even More Jesus. There is that dense coffee roast, dark chocolate for days, more of that caramel brown sugar, complexity of sweetness, not only simple white sugar. There's a little bit of nuttiness in there, which could possibly just be a familiar quality of roast nuts from the malt, but maybe there is that kind of lightly toasted pecan walnut kind of flavor dancing around there. I will say for 14.5%, this beer is dangerous. This beer drinks just as good as the other Evil Twin beers. I mean, granted, they're big. Imperial Biscotti Break, I think, comes in at 11.5. Even More Jesus at 12%. So the bump, which is a decent bump to 14.5, is not very obvious. And this has got to be one of the best made non-barrel aged Imperial Stouts above 14%. And Evil Twin has proven to do that with something like Bozo beer, which is like 18%. So really well executed that way. The mouthfeel is thick, chewy. I mean, you feel like you could almost eat this beer. Yeah, it's huge. Yep, the cloying sweetness is not that bad. You know, you get a little bit of lip smacking quality to it, but ends up bittering out a little bit. There is a bittering here, and then that roast helps dry it out, despite the fact that there is that aftertaste of more of that sugary sweetness on the palate. But yeah, appearance is fantastic. It's so dark. The aromatics work. The complexity of flavors work on the palate. The mouthfeel is insane. The ability to hide alcohol is well executed. It's just a very sweet, intense, big beer, and they did it. It's even more. You know, it's even more. It does everything big, and I can imagine the sense of Hygge here, where you go sit down in a fireplace and you just share this can with, you know, 2 or 3 people, 4 people, and just sip on it, enjoy the warmth of the chocolate, the rich sweetness, the desserty qualities after a big meal, and replace this, you know, instead of a hot chocolate or something, just have this big boozy rich beer that will just warm you. And, you know, it doesn't have to warm you by the sense of how much alcohol you taste, but it will warm you in the sense that there is a lot of alcohol in this at 14.5%. So that's for rating. Oh, this is good. But wow, the punch of sweetness is really intense. So if you want to challenge yourself on how much sweetness you can take in Imperial Stout, try this one out. This is Even More Hygge from San City Evil Twin. This from me is getting a 93. Until next time, cheers. Later.